There's something extraordinary happening right now, in this exact moment, as your eyes move across these words. You clicked on this video for a reason that goes deeper than curiosity, deeper than coincidence. Something inside you recognized the title, felt the pull, and brought you here. That's not accident. That's alignment. And what I'm about to share with you will change the way you see every moment moving forward. Right now, you're standing at the edge of something bigger than you realize. The universe has been sending you signals, breadcrumbs, whispers, in the quiet moments when you thought no one was listening. But here's what most people miss. These aren't random occurrences. They're not lucky breaks or strange coincidences that just happen to fall into your lap. They're part of a much larger conversation that's been happening between you and life itself. Think about the last few weeks of your experience. How many times have you noticed something that felt almost too perfect to be random? A song that played exactly when you needed to hear those lyrics. A conversation with a stranger that answered a question you'd been carrying in silence. Maybe you've been seeing the same numbers repeatedly, or finding yourself in situations that feel strangely familiar, as if you've been preparing for them your entire life. Most people brush these moments aside. They tell themselves it's just their imagination, just coincidence, just the way life randomly unfolds. But deep down, you know better. You can feel there's a pattern emerging, a rhythm that's been building momentum beneath the surface of your everyday routine. That knowing, that quiet recognition, is exactly why you're here right now. What if I told you that these moments aren't leading up to something? What if they are the something? What if the universe has been orchestrating a series of experiences specifically designed to bring you to this exact point in your journey? Not tomorrow, not next week, but right here, right now. In this moment where everything you've been unconsciously preparing for is finally ready to click into place. See, most people spend their entire lives waiting for the big moment. They're looking for the dramatic revelation, the life-changing event that arrives with fireworks and fanfare. They expect transformation to knock down their door with obvious, undeniable force. But that's not how evolution works. That's not how the universe communicates. The most profound shifts happen in the spaces between the obvious, in the subtle adjustments that compound over time until suddenly everything looks different. You've been living through this process without fully recognizing it. Every choice that felt slightly different from your usual pattern, every moment when you surprised yourself by speaking up instead of staying quiet, every time you walked away from something that used to feel normal but suddenly felt heavy. These weren't small changes, these were preparation. Your inner compass has been recalibrating itself. Your priorities have been shifting so gradually that you might not have noticed the transformation until you look back and realized how different your desires have become. Things that once excited you now feel empty. Relationships that once felt comfortable now feel limiting. Dreams that once seemed impossible now whisper possibilities you can't ignore. This isn't confusion. This isn't a quarter-life crisis or a midlife awakening or whatever label people use to dismiss the magnitude of what's actually happening. This is expansion. This is your system upgrading itself to match the frequency of who you're becoming. And the reason it feels so intense, so disorienting, so overwhelming at times, is because you're outgrowing the container of who you thought you were supposed to be. The universe doesn't send signs to people who aren't ready to receive them. It doesn't waste energy on minds that are closed, hearts that are shut down, or spirits that have given up on the possibility of something greater. The fact that you're recognizing these patterns, feeling these shifts, experiencing these moments of clarity that seem to come from nowhere, proves something significant about where you are in your journey. You're not behind schedule, you're not missing opportunities, you're not too late to the party, you're exactly where you need to be, receiving exactly what you're ready to handle, at precisely the moment when your system can integrate the information without breaking under the weight of too much, too fast. But here's where it gets interesting. Recognition is only the first step. Awareness is just the beginning of the process. The universe has been preparing you, yes, but not so you can sit back and wait for life to happen to you. It's been preparing you to become an active participant in the co-creation of your experience. Every sign you've been receiving has been building toward this moment of choice. Not the choice of what to do with your life, but the choice of how to be with your life. The choice to trust the process that's been unfolding beneath your awareness. the choice to step into partnership with the intelligence that's been guiding your path all along. This is where most people get stuck. They recognize the signs, they feel the shifts, they sense the invitation to step into something greater, but then they freeze. They start second-guessing themselves. They wonder if they're reading too much into ordinary events. They convince or being fool themselves they-ish, unrealistic, naive. But what if the opposite is true? What if the most unrealistic thing you could do right now is ignore what your deepest knowing is telling you? What if the most naive choice would be to keep pretending that these experiences don't mean anything, that these patterns aren't pointing you towards something specific? The signs haven't been random. The timing hasn't been coincidental. And this moment, right now, as you absorb these words, isn't just another video you stumbled across in your feed. This is your invitation to stop waiting for permission and start trusting the guidance that's been there all along. Because the truth is, the universe has been having a conversation with you for longer than you realize. And now it's time for you to start talking back. The conversation has always been happening. Even in the moments when you felt most alone, most disconnected, most convinced that life was just a series of random events happening to you rather than with you. Even then, the dialogue was flowing beneath the surface, weaving connections you couldn't see, arranging circumstances you wouldn't understand until much later. But now something has shifted. The volume has turned up. The signals have become clearer, more frequent, more impossible to dismiss as mere coincidence. It's like suddenly being able to hear a frequency that was always broadcasting, but your inner radio wasn't tuned to receive it. Now you're picking up transmissions from a part of reality that most people never even know exists. This is what happens when you reach a certain level of readiness, when your internal system has been refined enough, cleared enough, aligned enough to handle information that would have overwhelmed you before. The universe doesn't flood you with guidance when you're not prepared to receive it. It waits. It prepares you slowly, gently, through experiences that build your capacity to hold bigger truths, deeper knowing, more expansive possibilities. Every challenge you've faced has been strengthening your ability to trust what you can't yet see. Every disappointment has been teaching you to release attachment to outcomes that weren't meant for you anyway. Every moment of confusion has been clearing space in your mind for clarity that couldn't exist while you were cluttered with old assumptions about how life is supposed to work. You've been in training without realizing it, learning to distinguish between the voice of fear and the voice of wisdom, developing the skill to feel into opportunities rather than just think about them, building the courage to move toward what calls you even when the path isn't guaranteed, even when other people don't understand, even when your logical mind can't figure out all the steps in advance. This training period is coming to completion, not because you've reached some perfect state of enlightenment, but because you've developed enough trust in the process to take action without needing to control every variable. You've learned that certainty isn't a prerequisite for movement. You've discovered that clarity comes through walking the path, not before you step onto it. The signs you've been receiving aren't just confirmation that you're on the right track. They're activation codes. Each one has been updating your internal programming, shifting your beliefs about what's possible, expanding your sense of what you're capable of creating. Every meaningful coincidence has been rewiring your relationship with possibility itself. And now you've reached a threshold, a point where the accumulation of all these small activations has created enough momentum to generate visible change in your external reality. The inner transformation that's been happening quietly, subtly, behind the scenes, is ready to express itself in ways that you and others can actually see. This is why everything feels different lately, why familiar situations no longer feel familiar, why you find yourself responding to life in ways that surprise you, why opportunities that would have terrified you before now feel like natural next steps. Your operating system has been upgraded, and you're finally beginning to experience what it feels like to function from this new level of awareness. But here's what most people don't understand about this process. The signs don't stop once you start acting on them. They multiply. They become more specific, more personal, more undeniably tailored to your exact situation and needs. The universe responds to your response. When you show that you're listening, when you demonstrate that you're willing to follow the guidance becomes more direct, more frequent, more supportive. It's like proving yourself as a trustworthy partner in the co-creative process. The more you show up, the more you're shown. The more you trust, the more trustworthy information flows your way. The more you act on small promptings, the more significant promptings you receive. This creates an upward spiral of synchronicity and flow that can feel almost magical to people who have never experienced it. But it's not magic. It's the natural result of aligning with the intelligence that's always been orchestrating reality. It's what happens when you stop fighting the current and start swimming with it. Right now, you're at the beginning of this upward spiral. The foundation has been laid through all those months or years of preparation you didn't even know you were going through. The internal shifts have created the space for external manifestations to occur. Your frequency has stabilized at a level that can attract and maintain experiences that match this new version of who you're becoming. The question isn't whether you're ready. You wouldn't be recognizing these patterns if you weren't ready. The question is whether you're willing to let go of the illusion that you need to figure everything out before you take the first step. Because the next sign isn't coming to give you more information, it's coming to invite you into action. And inviting isn't the action, it's a complicated or overwhelming or beyond your current capabilities. It's simple, clear, and completely aligned with who you've been becoming all along. You've been preparing for this moment longer than you know. Every experience, every challenge, every moment of growth has been building toward this opportunity to step fully into partnership with the forces that have been guiding your journey from the beginning. The conversation is about to become much more interactive, and your voice in this dialogue is about to become much more important than you've ever imagined possible. So here you are, not by accident, not by chance, but by design. Every sign that led you to this moment, every shift you've been feeling, every quiet knowing that something bigger is unfolding, it has all been pointing you toward this single realization. You're not a passive observer in your own life. You're an active participant in a conversation that has been waiting for you to join it fully. The signs will continue. They'll become clearer, more frequent, more undeniably personal as you prove that you're listening. But this video, right now, this is your final sign that the preparation phase is over. The foundation has been built. The frequency has been calibrated. The path has been cleared. What happens next isn't up to the universe alone. It's up to you. Trust what you've been feeling. Follow what you've been sensing. Act on what you've been knowing. Because the moment you stop waiting for permission and start honoring the guidance that's been there all along, everything changes. You found this video for a reason. You stayed until the end for a reason. That reason is simple. It's time. The conversation that's been happening around you is now ready to happen through you. And the world is waiting to see what becomes possible when you finally step into the role you've been preparing for your entire life. This is your sign. This is your moment. This is your invitation to begin.